Sometimes, healing doesn't feel like healing at all. It feels like waking up exhausted after sleeping all night. It feels like avoiding mirrors because you don't recognize who's looking back. It feels like crying in silence, then pretending everything's fine 5 minutes later. So here's the truth. Healing isn't pretty, but it's powerful. And if you stay with this message to the end, you'll begin to see why the mess you're in might be the very place your strength is being born. No one really talks about this part. The part where healing doesn't come with a sunrise and a peaceful smile. Instead, it comes with confusion, with resistance, with days where you question whether you're getting better at all. Healing is supposed to be progress, right? Growth? A better version of yourself? But what if it looks more like forgetting how to breathe in the middle of the grocery store? What if it feels like isolating yourself because you're too tired to explain what's wrong? Again, the world has trained us to expect neat timelines and transformation montages. But real healing? It's clumsy. It's slow. It's full of relapses and restarts and nights you stare at the ceiling wondering if you'll ever feel whole again. And maybe that's the point. The danger isn't that healing is ugly. The danger is that people expect it to be beautiful and then give up when it's not. They think, if I'm still crying, I must be weak. If I still get triggered, maybe I'm broken beyond repair. If I haven't moved on by now, maybe I never will. But healing isn't a straight line. It's a spiral. You revisit the same pain at deeper levels until you finally understand it and release it. And just because the wound still stings doesn't mean it isn't closing. Think of it like this. When you break a bone, it has to be reset. Sometimes painfully, sometimes more than once. But over time, that spot becomes stronger than it was before. Not because it didn't break, but because it healed. There's this myth that healing means always being positive, that you should smile more, forgive quickly, bounce back fast. But the truth? Healing is often anger. It's feeling the weight of what happened without rushing to make peace. It's sitting with your pain until it finally tells you what it came to teach. Maybe you still blame yourself for things you couldn't control. Maybe you've minimized your trauma because someone else had it worse. Maybe your heart still flinches when you remember that one sentence someone said years ago. That doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're human. It means your nervous system remembers what your mind tried to forget. And here's where it starts to shift. Because healing isn't the absence of pain. It's the ability to carry it differently. It's when you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what can I build with what it left behind? You're not weak because you're tired. You're not lost because you still feel pain. And you're not broken just because you haven't figured everything out. If anything, the fact that you're still showing up, still breathing, still trying, that is strength most people can't see. In the next part of this message, you'll learn why most people give up halfway, and what to do when healing feels more like drowning than swimming. But trust this, you're further along than you think. So maybe you're sitting there right now, wondering if it ever really gets better, if healing ever turns into peace, or if you're destined to just carry this ache forever. And that question, that quiet ache behind it, it's more common than you think, because healing doesn't come with a finish line. It doesn't announce its arrival with fireworks. It comes like rain on a dry field, soft, steady, sometimes unnoticed until things begin to grow. But to get there, you have to face the part most people run from, the halfway point. There's a moment in every healing journey that feels like giving up. It's not loud. It doesn't always look like a breakdown. It looks like sleeping more than usual. It looks like canceling plans without a real reason. It looks like scrolling through your phone while your heart silently screams for something real. This is where most people stop, because they mistake stillness for failure. They confuse survival with stagnation. And worst of all, they think the discomfort means they're doing it wrong. But here's the hard truth. Discomfort is a sign you're in the process. You don't stretch a muscle without resistance. You don't grow without friction. And you don't heal without facing the very thing that hurt you. This is where the real work begins. There's a subtle trap that many fall into, the obsession with speed, with getting back to normal, with fixing everything so you can finally move on and never feel this again. But healing isn't about speed. It's about presence. The person who heals the deepest isn't the one who heals the fastest. It's the one who stays with their pain long enough to learn from it, to see its shape, to understand what it changed and what it didn't. There's no shame in slow progress. You're not a failure because your timeline doesn't match someone else's. You are not late. You are rebuilding, brick by brick. And no one sees how hard that really is. Imagine a city after an earthquake. From above, all you see is rubble. But underground, engineers are assessing the foundation. Workers are clearing debris. Slowly, carefully, they're building something new, stronger, more stable. From the outside, it just looks like a mess. But from within, it's a masterpiece in progress. That's your heart right now. People may not see the work. They may not understand your quiet mornings, your solitude, your boundaries. But you're not doing nothing. You're laying the groundwork for a life that won't collapse at the first sign of pressure. And that takes time. It takes courage. It takes grace. So what can you do when it all still feels too much? Here's something simple. Stop asking yourself to be okay. Start asking yourself, what do I need today to stay gentle with myself? Some days that might be a walk. Other days it's closing your eyes and breathing for 1 full minute. Some days it's journaling your anger without editing it. Other days it's crying in the shower. This isn't failure. This is healing in motion. Healing doesn't always look like routines, goals, or morning sunlight. Sometimes it looks like sitting in the dark and deciding not to give up again. There's a strange thing that happens when you stop trying to heal perfectly. You begin to heal truthfully. And in that truth, in that mess, something powerful awakens. The understanding that your pain isn't the enemy. In the final part of this message, we'll talk about what your pain is actually trying to give you. Not just freedom from the past, but strength for what's ahead. And why the people who've been broken the most often carry the deepest wisdom. Are you ready to see what your pain has been preparing you for? So, what if your pain isn't here to punish you, but to prepare you? What if the reason it's still present isn't because you're weak, but because there's something inside you still unfolding? Something only pain could open. We often look at pain as the enemy, but sometimes pain is just the messenger. A quiet knock on the door of your soul asking, will you finally listen to what you've been avoiding? Pain teaches. It doesn't ask for permission, but it always leaves a lesson. It teaches you who's really there for you. It shows you the truth about what you believed and what you deserve to unlearn. It reveals the masks you wore to survive and offers you the freedom to take them off. And no, it's not glamorous. There are no trophies for healing, no finish lines, no applause. But there is something even more valuable. You become unshakable, not because nothing hurts you anymore, but because you've learned to feel it and keep going. Because you've stopped running from yourself. Because you've turned your own pain into understanding. Not just for you, but for others who haven't found their voice yet. Let's be real. There will be mornings where you wake up with a heaviness you can't name. Where brushing your teeth feels like an act of war. Where your to-do list sits untouched and all you manage is just existing. But then one day, without realizing it, you respond to a trigger differently. You forgive someone who isn't even sorry. You speak up for yourself in a room where you used to stay silent. You catch yourself smiling, and you don't immediately question it. That is healing, not the loud moments, the quiet shifts. And that power, that resilience, it wasn't built in a week. It was carved in silence, over time, in moments you thought didn't matter. You are not broken. You are breaking through. You're not behind. You're becoming. And no, you don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to stay with it, especially on the days it doesn't make sense. Because one day, this pain that feels like too much will become the very story that helps someone else breathe again. And that's not just healing. That's redemption. If you've made it this far, thank you. Not just for watching, but for choosing to stay, to reflect, to heal in your own quiet way. You don't have to be okay right now, but you are allowed to believe that you will be. And when that day comes, you'll look back and realize the mess was never the opposite of healing. It was the beginning of becoming whole. If this message found a place in your heart, consider sharing it. Someone else might be waiting for the words you just heard. Until then, keep becoming, even in the mess, especially in the mess.